screen. Color grading has never been more easy. What if you can achieve the ultimate look? Create the perfect blend of color schemes. Become a master of color grading. Well, grow a pair. Set aside 10 minutes, and you will be able to do this. You think that was easy? Mr. Big Shot. You think you're tough on the other side of that screen? Well, guess again. That was super easy. Look who's laughing now.
Hey YouTubers, Charles Heureaux here, and thank you for watching my tutorial today. We're going to work with color grading. I hope you enjoyed that little trailer sneak peek of what we're going to do today. I'm trying to mix it up a bit, add some more excitement to the tutorials so you can enjoy them a lot more than just me, yapping away about how to do things. But let's get into it. As you can see here, here's the video that we're actually going to manipulate. It's just one day me and my friend were hanging out at my other friend's house, and we went to the gas station to go pick up a few things. And I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and work with this color because I like the scenery. There's a lot of reds, dark colors, and I wanted to see if I could play with those colors a little bit and make this nice cool effect. Now, looking at this, you probably can't tell, but this is color corrected because the original file, which you saw in the trailer, actually looks like this. And so what I wanted to do was get rid of some of these white tones, some of the red tones, a little bit of this yellow. It was just too bright, and I wanted to keep the brown in his skin. Now there are many ways to do this. You can use VideoCopilot presets. You can get Magic Bullet and create Magic Bullet looks. But for those who can't afford to buy such presets and plugins, I'm going to show you how to do this the cheap yet effective way of getting the kind of looks you want. It takes a little more work because you have to understand where you're going, but once you do it in the end, it'll be a piece of cake. So the first thing I like to do was create an adjustment layer. Now, an adjustment layer is sort of like an invisible layer, but you can add effects to this layer and it affects all layers beneath that layer. Now, one thing to know, which I'm probably going to explain later on in the green screen tutorial, is when you put a green screen key or a Luma key, any kind of key on an adjustment layer, and get rid of the background, the green background, and you try to put a picture behind the image that you keyed out, it's not going to show up. There's a lot of reasons behind it, but I'll explain that in the green screen tutorial. So the first thing we like to do with this layer is actually put a tint on it. Now if you see in my effect controls, I selected a tint, left a map black to black, and map white to white. I wanted to saturate the colors just a little bit, or desaturate the colors just a little bit. So how I did that was I went to effects, let's X out of that, and I typed in tint. Oh, spelled that wrong, tint. And there you go, under color correction, it's right there. Another way to find it is if we go over here to layer and go to, or actually go to effect. Well, you know what, we actually have to have this layer selected. Okay, it's selected. Go to effect, color correction, and it's all the way near the bottom, tint. It's that simple. Alright, and so what I did was when you first get a tint, it's automatically at 100 and it's pretty much a black and white image. I wanted to keep some of the colors inside of it, but I wanted to kind of drown out some of the background colors at the same time. So I dropped it down to 40, and it keeps some of the colors in, but as you notice, in my friend's face, his name is Ken, so we're going to call him Ken from now on. In Ken's face, some of the browns are a little too desaturated, and I don't like that. So I want to bring some of the browns back into his skin tone, and so that's where we created this layer, deep brown solid. In order to create a solid, again, you just go to Layer, New, Solid, make sure it's comp size, and then you just pretty much figure out whatever color you want that layer to be. I chose the layer to be brown because I wanted to bring out the browns in his skin and bring out the browns in whatever else is around. So what we did with that is, let me go ahead and put that back to normal just so you can see the solid. I create a solid at it comes at 100. I create a solid, and the first thing I wanted to do was go to the layer option and put the layer option down to classic color burn. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a way to bring out and crush all the browns and everything that you see. Now, in this image, it looks really bad right now because obviously it's too crushed, and that's where opacity comes into play. This is a crucial trick into understanding how to play with the color correction. You drop the opacity down as low as you can just so you can give a hint of the color that you're working with, and it will make all the difference. So I dropped it down to 15%. Okay. Now you can't really notice it too much, but I brought some of the brown back into his skin. Watch me get rid of the layer. Alright, boom. You see that? I kind of darkened out in here, but I brought some of the brown back in and isolated the colors a little bit so that it looked a little more high def and a little more clearer and better. Second thing I like to add was I created two solids. Another solid was a red solid. Now it wasn't quite red. It was more like a pinkish red because I wanted to bring some of the red back in the outside. So what I did was, let's turn that layer on. I did a couple different things. Let's go ahead and make this drop down. I put a mask on it. In the previous tutorial, I showed you how to do the oval mask by just double-clicking the mask button, and it gave me a mask. And then I inverted the mask at subtract. And what that did was it allowed me to feather or put a vignette around the edge. Remember, I told you I love doing vignettes. I put a vignette around the edge. I masked the feather at 200 pixels, and I masked the expansion at 59 pixels. So by masking the expansion at 59, it helped me bring back the mask just a little bit, and then I feathered it out to 200, and it gave me a nice little red going around in here, and there's a little bit of red inside of his hair. You can barely notice the red though. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize that. Also, I put the opacity by pressing T down to 20%. Really simple techniques. We're just pretty much doing the same thing for each different layer, but working with the colors just a little differently to make sure they fit the picture the way it should be fitting. And as you can tell, you can already see it working. I mean, let's get rid of these layers real quick just to see the effect that it's already had. You know, we add the tint, boom, it gets rid of some of the colors in the background. Add the red, puts a little bit of a vignette in the corners, and add the brown, isolates the background and gives him more brown in his skin. And now we're going to add a blue. Now this blue is going to be the same as the red. All I did was duplicate the red layer with the same settings that the red layer already had with the mask and everything. I just changed the color to like a lighter blue. But the only difference is instead of setting the red layer to overlay, I set the blue layer to classic color burn. That's the same thing that I set the brown layer to. Both of them are set at classic color burns. Now I did this just so I can get a little gray inside of the vignette. The only color that I really changed with the brown was inside of here. So I needed to add a little bit of a vignette around here just for cinematic appeal. And last but not least, I added a black vignette. Now this one, again, I just duplicated the red layer and added a black vignette, but there was a difference. One difference. I actually pulled back the mask expansion a little more because the vignette was like all the way into his face, and that was not good. I needed to bring it back some so that it wasn't too dark around him, and it felt like that we were, I don't know, looking through like a small binocular or something. It looked really bad. So I pulled it back to 96 pixels. Okay? And that was it. And I color graded this whole entire video clip with just, what, 5 simple layers. An adjustment layer with a tint, a red solid with a overlay property, a brown solid with a classic color burn, a blue solid with a classic color burn, and a black solid that was solely as a vignette. And I dropped the opacity down to 80%. and that's color grading. Now, you can use VideoCopilot. I mean, there are different ways you can use it. Like if I get rid of these layers right here, and I go and click on this original layer, we'll type here and start typing FMP. It'll bring up all Filmagic Pro styles, and I can choose from whatever style I want. You know, I could choose 90 Cinema and put that over top, and it'll automatically adjust, you know, the video or picture, or even a solid if you edit a solid, to highlight the attributes that they've already created, the presets they've already created for that color correction. You can go to enhance, and that kind of looks a little similar to what I've already created, but I showed you how to create that manually. Let's say you want a blue cool or a blue feel, but you want to enhance it, you know. So you can use different presets, but for those like myself who couldn't really afford Magic Bullet, more the higher programs, more higher cost programs, you learn to do things the creative, inexpensive way. I like to say creative because when you're poor, when you don't have a lot of money, you learn to do things outside the box. You learn to be creative, and that's when the best things in the world have been created, was because we had nothing and we wanted something that was able to give us the best and most dynamic look with nothing. And I think I did a good job here. So let's look at it again. Adjustment layer with a tint at 40%. A red solid set at overlay with an opacity of 20%. Then we're going to have an oval mask. We're going to duplicate that mask all throughout the blue layer and the black layer. Add a brown layer, set that to classic color burn so we could bring back some of the browns in his skin tone. Add a blue layer, duplicate the settings from red and just turn that to classic color burn. And then we add a black layer for the ending vignette. So that's my trailer for color grading in a nutshell. If you enjoyed it, that's great. If you didn't, please let me know what you didn't like, what you want to learn, and drop a comment below. I would love to help you with anything you need to know. Thank you for watching my trailer and have a good day.